I donated over 1,500 ounces of breast milk in the first 2 months of being postpartum. Hello, my name is Noelle. If you are new here, I am a mother of three, homemaker, stay-at-home mom. I love to bake and cook from scratch as well as thrift. All things home life over here. I thought today I would share a little bit of a different video with you guys and share my journey of being a milk donor. I had my baby currently 9 months ago. I cannot believe she is 9 months. And I kind of documented this journey as I went along. And I just thought we would talk a little bit about breastfeeding and my whole journey with being a milk donor. My whole reason behind sharing this little journey with you guys is to encourage anybody that's an overproducer, or maybe if you are just a nuffer and you have extra milk in your freezer, you will consider donating some breast milk, because every ounce counts is what they say. And breast milk or liquid gold is something very wonderful to be able to provide and donate to little babies in need, families in need of good nutritional milk. Now, if you are a mother that does formula feeding, this is no shade to anybody out there that is using formula. I have always breastfed our babies though, because factually we know that breast milk does provide the best nutrition. However, I know there are so many circumstances out there, whether you don't produce enough milk or whatever the case is, or maybe you just don't want to breastfeed. That is totally up to you. I'm just sharing my journey, my experience, and I don't want it to ever come across like I'm shaming someone else's decision for formula feeding, because that is totally up to you and your own journey. I do know there are a lot of circumstances out there that might prevent you from breastfeeding and having to supplement with formula. So, everyone's situation is different, and that is okay. So I just don't want anyone to feel like I'm passing judgment, because I'm absolutely not. You do what is best for you in your own situation. I absolutely loved the whole donating journey and everything that came with it. It is definitely dedication. Breastfeeding in general is dedication for sure. I mean, there are a million breaks throughout the day, and obviously baby is super attached when they are breastfeeding. I will absolutely say that for sure. I pumped exclusively for my first baby and have noticed such a huge difference when it comes to attachment. He was very independent, slept in his own bed, really didn't cause a lot of fuss. But my girls, very attached, wanting to sleep in the bed, wanting to nurse all night. It's a whole other thing. So yeah, breastfeeding is dedication for sure, but you don't have any bottles, which is really nice. I don't really have to sterilize any bottles, just my one part that I'm using for pumping, and my little jar container that I'm putting my breast milk in. So I love that. To me, that is an absolute pro, is the no bottles and having to deal with any bottle fuss, because I really don't want to do that. I just want to whip it out and feed my baby, okay? And so I love that so much about breastfeeding. I also love trusting in my body, knowing that I am able to, and very grateful that I am able to produce more than enough milk to not only feed my baby, but feed, I don't even know how many babies with this donated milk. And I just thought it was such a blessing. And I had been praying about what could I do to give back to and serve somebody in my community. I feel like as a stay-at-home mom, a lot of us are in our season where serving our own family is kind of all we can really manage, and maybe not get out there and do a whole bunch of serving for the community if you are into that. But if you're a believer of Jesus, he says to serve thy neighbor and all of that good stuff. So I always feel like I'm looking for opportunities to serve others any way I can, whether it's just bringing them a meal, some fresh bread, offering to babysit, or maybe giving some items away that I don't need that are in perfectly good condition, or maybe, trying to help out with groceries. All these different things I try really hard to do, but sometimes in the season of life you're in, those things just might not be feasible for whatever reason. But I really do try hard to give back to people that I don't even really know very well, but I just want to help. Giving makes my heart feel really good, and I feel just good giving to people. So I felt like donating breast milk was a way that I could give in this season that wasn't going to take too much out of me, and something I would be able to manage. And in the past, I was always an oversupplier. If you don't know what an oversupplier means, it's just mean you produce so much milk naturally. And that could be, it is definitely a blessing, but it also can be a burden sometimes because you produce so much milk, you don't know what to do with it. And pumping becomes a chore, and storing and bagging milk. So I really wanted to make a plan when I was pregnant this time to be able to do something with the milk and not just save it all up in my freezer for no reason, because I knew chances are of my baby actually taking a bottle were kind of slim, because like I said, I just don't really deal with the bottles. We have a few just in case, but I knew I probably would not be bottle feeding very much, and she's 9 months and we really haven't bottle fed at all, so I guess I was right. I got my little Haka pump. If you don't know what the Haka is, it is a silicone breast pump. It has no like motors or anything like that. You just suction it on and all of the letdown falls into the cup and you just collect it. I highly recommend to get a top for it because I have spilled it so many times, even with the top. So you have to be careful. I know they have different models now, like the shell and the ladybug Hakas, which I've never tried them, but I think in the future, if I ever did this again, I would use something like that because it's a lot less likely to spill, I think, than the original Haka pump. Nevertheless, I love my Haka and it has served me well. I love that there's no wires, no tubing, and it's very easy to clean and sterilize. So every feeding, for the most part, I would put on my nursing bra every day and put my little Haka pump in where you're supposed to put like a traditional pump that is either wireless or wired. And I just put it in there and let my milk just drip in there. And I would get about 4 ounces, 3 to 4 ounces almost every time. And I just did that for the next 2 months and I was able to get so much milk. Definitely, I think over 600 ounces was about the amount that I donated the very first time. Now, let's talk a little bit about milk supply. I am a overproducer, always have been. Praise the Lord for that, because I cannot imagine, and a lot of mamas out there, I'm talking to you, if you are struggling with your milk supply, my heart goes out to you because I cannot imagine not being able to supply enough milk for my own child. And I hope that you guys don't take that too heavy on your hearts because it is not your fault. Everybody is just different. Everybody is made up of different genetics and different situations, and everyone's body is different. So I really want to preface, if you hear a cute little snoring sounds, the baby is sleeping right here on me while I film this voiceover. But I really want to really preface and say that everyone's body is different. Do not compare your milk supply to mine because mine is a little bit wild and definitely an oversupplier for sure. So my heart goes out to you if you are a maybe just enougher or undersupply. I honestly can't imagine and the frustration that comes with that. And I really hope you guys are not taking on guilt for it because again, it's not your fault. Truly not your fault. But I do not take for granted having a really good milk supply, and I wanted to do something with that. I wanted to give back to families that are not experiencing the same amount of milk that I was able to produce and just give back. So that's really my whole reasoning for this video, is just sharing the process and encouraging you that it is not as difficult as people say. Are there steps involved? Absolutely. Here's me trying to reorganize my freezer because I had so much milk in there that I honestly just don't have the room because I don't have a deep freezer. Breast milk is good in the freezer for up to 6 months. And I believe it can go up to 12 months, but it starts losing nutrition about 6 months. And I am using a few different milk bags, storage milk bags in this video. I think one of them is the lanolin and then the mom cozy ones. Also, when you donate breast milk, they do send you bags if you request them, which is really nice. So you can keep filling them up and returning them. We'll go over the process in a minute on how to donate. It's pretty simple. It does take a few steps and a little bit of time. But yeah, I like to make little milk brick bags so I have more room in my freezer. And breast milk is good in the freezer for about 6 months. And I think if you have a deep freezer, it's good 6 to 12 months. But I know people do keep breast milk in their freezer for like 12 months in total. But I think it does start to lose nutrition about 6 months. Also, keep in mind breast milk, when you have a little breast milk stash in your freezer, the breast milk does change the nutrition over time to your baby's needs. So for instance, a newborn isn't going to need the same nutritional needs as like an 8-9 month old. So your body is going to adjust to what the baby actually needs, as in more fat and protein will be added to the milk as the baby gets older. So less carbohydrates will be in the milk, and then you will have more protein and more fats in the milk as your baby gets older. So keep that in mind, because newborn milk isn't going to be sufficient for like 6 month nutrition. It does change. I just think that's good to keep in mind when having a freezer stash. I did keep some freezer stash on. I did keep a few bags on hand for my daughter, just in case, we ever needed it for emergencies or what have you. But we honestly haven't used it and just been using it in milk baths because she is just exclusively breastfed. And the whole journey has been great. It has had its challenges at times for sure. I really enjoyed collecting the milk and then bagging it every 3 days. But I like to keep a mason jar in the fridge that collects all of the milk, and I just mix it in there. You're supposed to let it get cold first and then add it to the jar. So that's what I would do. I've heard that it doesn't matter if you let it get cold first. Let me know your thoughts down below. I guess the concern is that it is going to raise the milk temperature and then allow for bacteria in the milk if you do not let it get cold first before mixing it. But, let me know what your favorite way to do the pitcher method is. I just like to be safe. And whenever I see contradicting like opinions out there, I just kind of go with the safest one just to be sure. Since I was donating this milk, I really wanted to make sure that I just went the safest route possible and just cooled the milk first and then added it to the pitcher. I would bag it up and put the date on it, and then I would put it in the freezer, lay it flat, get the air bubbles out. You want to make sure you get those air bubbles out in the little milk bags because you don't want it to be freezer burnt, because that is not going to create the best tasting milk for the babies. However, I think freezer burnt milk is okay. I was reading online that it's not going to like do anything weird, I guess, health-wise, but it's not going to give the best taste for sure. So I just wanted to avoid that at all costs. Okay, so on to the process of actually donating. So the first thing you're going to want to do, I use Mother's Milk Bank, which is, there's so many different milk banks out there. There are also milk banks that will pay you for your milk. However, I've seen some scammy things online about that. So definitely check into those that are willing to pay you for your time. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing when it comes to getting paid for your time and effort for, bagging and getting your breast milk ready to go. I just say look into it for sure, because I know there's been some weird scammy stuff with breast milk. I also don't recommend buying it on Facebook Market. I know there are a lot of groups that are selling, like mom groups that are maybe selling breast milk on Facebook Market. I would be very careful about that. And I probably wouldn't recommend or condone that because, one, it's not tested, and two, it just seems a little sketchy to me. And I know there have been scams on Facebook Marketplace for breast milk. So just be careful, okay? Be careful out there if you are in need for breast milk. Definitely maybe hit up a milk bank and go the safest route, because your baby will be, ingesting this, and you just want to make sure. I've even seen some scams where it's not even really breast milk or human milk. So you want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence and research, and stay away from like Marketplace and stuff like that for milk, okay? Okay. So I used Mother's Milk Bank, and the first thing they're going to do is you're going to fill out a form online, and then they give you like some questions, you answer some questions, and they give you a phone call, and then they do a little phone screening. And then after that, they are going to send you some paperwork to get filled out by the doctor, as well as they pay for you to get a blood test to make sure that you are all healthy and good to go. And your doctor also needs to sign off on it before you can become a milk donor. Once they get all of your paperwork and everything is okay and you are deemed healthy enough to donate, they're going to want to know what kind of medications you're on, and if you've been sick during the time that you were pumping and collecting milk, all of those things. Okay, you're going to want to know about your medical history, all of that good stuff. It sounds complicated, but honestly, it's really not bad. The process went really quick, and before you knew it, there was a cooler at my house. They send you a cooler with a bag, some breast milk bags if you request them. They will ask you if you want some breast milk bags, or at least they should. And honestly, you just put your breast milk in there, and that's a pretty simple process. And you tell them how many ounces you think you have, and they will tell you, oh, no breast milk before this date. So you want to make sure that you are following the requirements, as well as dating the bags that you are going to be donating, making sure they have proper dates on them and that they can actually read the dates on the breast milk bags. That is very important. So once your cooler gets to you, then you will bag it in a big plastic bag. You will make sure that, I like to put newspaper. They tell you to put like some kind of newspaper or something around the areas that do not have anything in them. So you want to make sure all the space in the cooler is kind of taken up by, I like to use newspaper or maybe like a plastic bag or something like that, because it will help prevent melting in the cooler. Now, this cooler will ship overnight. You want to make sure you don't do it on the weekend. And you will contact this company called Paraship, and they're the ones that will pick it up, at least for Mother's Milk Bank. That's what it's called. And Paraship, I think, is just for perishable things such as breast milk. So they will ship it overnight to the location and back to the milk bank. From there, they will test it, sterilize it, all of that good stuff, count the nutrition in the milk. And I believe they mix it with a whole bunch of other moms' milk as well. And they do the whole process of like sterilizing and testing, all of that good stuff. And then they give it to the hospital, and your milk will go to NICU babies in need and families in need. Now, I have had some questions about if the hospitals charge at all for the breast milk. I honestly don't know. I think it just depends on the hospital. And from my research, it kind of looks like hospitals, you guys know, hospitals charge you for everything. Now, in a perfect world, I would absolutely love for moms and babies to get breast milk for free, of course, because it is a absolute need and something that is very essential for babies. Obviously, it's like, bless you. Oh, God bless you. But yes, breast milk is obviously essential for babies, and it is a must-have, and it's very important for them to grow and all of that great stuff that they are naturally meant to do for their development. Breast milk is obviously very important, or if you do formula, then, they just need a food source like all of us do. And I wish that there weren't any charges that would go towards that, especially since I'm donating the milk for free and putting my time. I wish that there was no charges for anything, but I think the hospital does charge you for maybe sterilizing the bottles as well as testing for the breast milk, because I think they do their own testing as well as the milk bank does too, just to make sure that everything is safe. Testing breast milk would be very important because these are NICU babies, so babies that are premature or have some kind of health complication. You want to make sure that this milk is safe and what they're ingesting is safe, of course. That is so important. So they do all the testing, and I think they may charge you for that as well. Sterilizing of bottles. I'm not sure if they charge for the actual milk itself, and I think that just varies on the hospital. But hey, all I can do is my part. I can't control everything in the world, not even close. So I just wanted to do what I can and donate for free. Like I said, they do have some milk banks that will pay you for your time, but I had no interest in that. I have had people in my family ask me, like, why don't you try to get paid for your milk and your time? And for me, it really truly was not about the money at all. I just wanted to do it for the satisfaction of knowing that someone else in need was able to get my milk. And they say every ounce counts. So that's really my whole meaning behind donating. So I donated this very first time and they came and picked it up. They gave you a little time slot and I moved the heavy cooler. This cooler was very heavy. I put all the stickers and the paperwork that you're supposed to put inside. I brought it over to the door. It was so heavy, so I had to kind of drag it and just waited for the man to come pick it up. And then straight after he picked it up, I was actually bagging some more milk because I had a bunch more milk that needed to be bagged. So I was already on to my next journey of donating my next batch of milk. And in total of donating this time and another time, I donated about over 1,500 ounces of milk, which is so incredible just within the first 4 months of my baby being Earthside. And I thought that was so incredible. And I felt very accomplished and really happy that this time my milk did not go to waste. And it's not just sitting in my freezer and I would have to throw it away as time went on because we just weren't using it. And I don't know anybody that I could have gave it to, and I don't know who would really even be willing to take breast milk. Unless you do know that person, that's a little bit different. You kind of know their lifestyle, maybe what kind of medications they're on. But again, I'm cautioning you to not just take milk from anybody. I really would hope you know that person well or go through a milk bank. I do not want to, you know, I do not recommend going other sources for breast milk. I think you have to be really careful with that. That is a scary thing. So make sure you're doing lots of research and finding out all the information you can before you make any decisions. I highly recommend a milk bank. I believe you can even buy it just a mom to mom basis, like you pay for the ounces. And I know it can be pretty expensive. I've seen some milk banks charging about $3 an ounce, which is pretty pricey, definitely. I'm not sure. Let me know down below if there are any programs where moms, maybe low income or something like that, can get on some kind of program for breast milk for these milk banks. Let us know all the resources down below because I haven't found anything like that. But if you know of any resources, I would highly appreciate, and I'm sure other moms would appreciate, if they are an expecting mom of any kind, whether it's your fourth baby, your fifth baby, your first baby. You know, the resources are always appreciated in information. That's why I love this community so much. You guys are amazing with the resources and just the knowledge and the wisdom. So if you guys have any of that, please feel free to leave that down below. I highly recommend donating milk. Yes, it does take dedication. It does take time. But just knowing that someone else was able to receive a blessing like breast milk made me so happy. And it was worth all of the hours, all of the time that I put into cleaning and sterilizing the haka and the jar and bagging everything, labeling everything, all of that stuff. It was so worth it. Current day, I am not donating any more breast milk at this point because I don't have any room in my freezer. I thought about going out and buying a deep freezer, but I just felt like that's not really, I want a deep freezer anyway, but at this point in time, it's just not feasible for us at the moment. But I absolutely enjoyed this whole process and I was able to donate about 1,500 ounces, a little over that, I believe, and I will do that in the future. I do not have any more freezer space. We were able to get a really good deal on meat, and so our freezer got really full after this second donation. And then I just started using the milk that I had in baths and stuff like that because we just don't have the room. And I do have a little stash in the freezer that is more current milk that I was able to save for my daughter just in case for emergencies. And it's a pretty good little stash, a few little brick bags of little freezer bags of breast milk. So we do have a little stash of our own, but like I said, she's exclusively breastfed, just mouth to breast. So we're not really doing bottles at all. But just in case, you never know. But I will absolutely do donating again. Like I said, it's so worth the time and the effort. At least it was for me. And I just want to encourage you, if you have the oversupply, if you have a little bit of time, to donate milk to a milk bank. Every ounce counts. And my experience was really great. They were very nice. They provide you with the milk bags, as well as someone comes and picks up your coolers. They send you the coolers for free. They also send breast milk bags, and the support was just amazing. And the people were really, really nice that I went through. And again, I went through Mother's Milk Bank. So I highly recommend them. I don't know about other milk banks because I did not try any other ones. This was the only one that I was able to go through, but the process was pretty easy. Like I said, you do have to get some blood work done and signed off by a doctor. And I believe every 6 months that you want to donate, you do have to get retested and the doctor, just to make sure you're all good. And they do test your milk as well. So just keep all those things in mind. But if you have the time, they pay for everything, even the blood work. So I just think this was a really awesome experience and I highly recommend it. So if you can, it's a great thing to do, to give back to your community. If you feel like you've been called to serve in any kind of way, I thought this one was such a good way to give back. And I'm really grateful that I was able to do it. I'm so thankful for a really good milk supply, a really good oversupply. Again, do not compare yourself to someone else's supply. We all go through different things. Our bodies are different and everyone's experience is different. So don't be hard on yourself if you are having a hard time producing milk. It is okay. That doesn't make you any less of a good mom. We all just do our best and just need to try to do what is in our means of being moms, okay? So don't ever feel bad if you are not producing enough or over. You are no less of a good mom. Anywho, I just wanted to share my experience and just encourage you guys to donate if you can or if you would like to. And thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a different kind of video on my channel and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Or if you didn't, that's okay too. Let me know down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.